It's Michelle, and I'm here with another video. As I promised, I was going to follow up with a video concerning chronic disease management and living here in Panama from my perspective. So welcome back. My name is Michelle Cordy. I am a nurse, a bodybuilder, and wellness expert who is here to share another video about life in Panama. This is a follow-up to my 9-month life, or my 9-month living here in Panama. I did a review, and with that review I touched on some things about healthcare, and I wanted to follow up with those important things about healthcare. So if you're interested in how to manage chronic diseases here in Panama, please stay tuned because that video is coming up next. I want to thank you for joining me again, and welcome to the channel. So first I want to give you a little background on my nursing career. Nursing was a second career for me. My first career was a business owner. I had a salon. I went back to school at the age of 35 and I got my degree in nursing. I am a bachelor's, well actually got my bachelor's degree in 2008, and then I went back and got my master's degree in nursing around 2013. I've practiced in different areas of nursing, critical care, chronic disease, primary care. I worked at a spinal clinic. I worked at a stroke clinic in Atlanta. My most recent career is with the VA. I was a nurse with the VA for 12 years, and most of my career in nursing was in chronic disease management. So that's where my expertise is coming from, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I'm managing my chronic disease here in Panama with hypertension. And I do have high cholesterol. I did find a primary care doctor immediately when I moved here to Panama, and it was a doctor that was recommended by an expat group. His name is Dr. Duncan. Visit with him, I paid cash out of pocket. I did a total visit that included my labs, assessment, everything, and I paid $234 for that first visit with him. That included my reevaluation and any recommendation he had for me with my care. I did share with him the medications. I bought copies of all my medications that I have been taking for my chronic disease, and I shared that information with him. Once we had our second visit, he went completely over my labs. This was the most thorough lab review that I've ever had. He explained the different levels of cholesterol, why one may be high, one maybe lower, what's important, my blood pressure medications, he reviewed those, and he is more of a holistic type provider. So of course his recommendation was to try to help me live without so many medications. So my experience was a great one. I was able to go to a regular pharmacy and just pick those up over the counter. I knew my strengths, what amount of medication I was on, so I was able to just buy those, and they were not expensive. I think for a 30-day box of or 20, it had 20 in a box, and the box was about $6 for 20 days. So that is very inexpensive in my opinion. Every medication is different. They have pharmacies that have discounts, so it just depends on where you go and the level of what your medication, what cost level that is in. So I just wanted to give you an example of medication and how easy it was for me, things that I'm dealing with here. And I wanted to share my experience and a little bit of what I learned about this healthcare system here in Panama. Before we go any further, I want to be very clear about who this video is for. This video is for people managing chronic conditions like hypertension, diabetes, thyroid disorders, cholesterol issues, autoimmune conditions, or anyone taking daily or long-term medications. It's also for people whose conditions are stable, meaning they're managed, but who want to know whether that level of care can realistically continue once they live outside the U.S. This video is not about emergency medicine or rare, highly specialized care. Okay, it's about everyday chronic disease management, the kind most adults over 40 are navigating, including myself. video is for educational purposes. It is not to take the place of your primary care provider's recommendations. Of course, you always follow your doctor's recommendation, and you use supplement information to help you become more proficient in your health care, your management of your chronic diseases. So I just wanted to make that disclaimer. Okay. One of the biggest fears people have about moving abroad, especially after 40 or 50, is what happens if you have chronic condition. I'm talking about things like high blood pressure, diabetes, thyroid disease, autoimmune conditions, the kind of health issues that require regular maintenance or ongoing care. Like I said, I'm a registered nurse living in Panama, and in this video, I want to walk you through how things actually work here, how medications work, what's manageable, what kind of planning it takes, and what you really need to understand before making a move here to Panama. Start with the biggest myth. One of the biggest myths I hear is that managing chronic disease abroad is either impossible or completely unsafe. The truth is, neither extreme is accurate. Panama has a functioning healthcare system with both public and private options, and chronic disease management is very possible here. When you understand how the system works, you can come prepared for anything, okay? Patients in Panama especially, let's talk about that, all right? Medications, because this is usually the biggest concern in Panama, many common medications are widely available at pharmacies, often at a lower out-of-pocket cost than in the U.S., okay? You'll find generic medications, brand name medications, and international equivalents. Pharmacies are easy to access in most urban areas, and pharmacists are generally knowledgeable about medications, okay? However, not everything works exactly the same way it does in the U.S. Some medications that require prescription in the U.S. may be available over the counter here, while others still require prescription from your local physician. One of the most important things to understand is this: you should never rely on only brand names. Know the generic name of each of your medication. That is essential, okay? This is something I strongly recommend people do before moving, is create a complete medication list with generic names, doses, and the condition they're treating. That simple step can prevent a lot of stress later. Doctor visits and follow-up care. Chronic disease management isn't just about medications. It's also about ongoing care. In Panama, you can access care through both private and public healthcare systems. Many expats choose private care for shorter wait times and easier scheduling. Routine follow-up visits, lab work, and monitoring are very doable here. One thing I always encourage people to do is be proactive. Don't wait until you're out of medications or overdue for labs. Establish your care early. As a nurse, I can tell you that continuation of care matters, and no matter what country you live in, it's important. So what's easier versus what requires planning here in Panama? Some aspects of chronic care tend to be easier here, and others require more planning. Conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, and thyroid disease are commonly treated. Labs are available, and medications are generally accessible. What may require more planning are very specialized medications, biologics, or brand-specific drugs without direct equivalents. This doesn't mean you can't live here. It simply means preparation matters. What to prepare for before moving? If you're considering a move to Panama and you manage a chronic condition, here's what I recommend preparing before you arrive. First, bring copies of all your medical records, especially recent labs and results and diagnoses. Second, know your medications by their generic names. Third, discuss transition planning with your current provider so that you understand your options. And finally, give yourself a buffer. Arrive with enough medications to give yourself time to learn the system without pressure. Right? I want to say this very clearly because fear stops people from living full, meaningful lives. Managing chronic disease in Panama is possible. It is not perfect, no healthcare system is. But with preparation, realistic expectations, and proactive care, many people successfully manage their conditions and live here well. In closing, I would like to say, if you're considering living abroad and want an honest, experience-based healthcare information, not hype and fear, I share what actually works, what requires adjustment, and what you should think through before major life changes. If you manage a chronic condition and you have questions, please leave them in the comments box and I can answer them in a future video. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.